Welcome back. All right. So, Peter DeBoer, apparently to be hired as the head coach of the Dallas Stars. According to Pierre LeBrun, they're just negotiating the amount of money. 4-year deal, more than $4 million a year is likely the way they're headed. I've seen people saying that coaches are, the amount of money that coaches are getting is high and is it a good return on investment. And it's weird because $4 million is a lot of money for you or I, but compared to what the players make, not so much. So Peter DeBoer has been through it, right? 2008 till 2011, he was a coach of the Florida Panthers. 2011 to 2015, he coaches the New Jersey Devils. That first year in New Jersey, the Devils reached the Stanley Cup Final, 2012. 2015 through 2020, he's a coach in San Jose. That first year in San Jose, they make it to the Stanley Cup Final in 2016. And of course, they went on a run as well. 2019 was the last time they went on a run. And then 2020 through 2022, he's coach of the Vegas Golden Knights, who of course missed the playoffs this year. Did not reach the Stanley Cup Final as the coach in Vegas. Now, if you look at his overall record, he's coached 1,015 regular season games, a record of 513 wins, 379 regulation losses, 123 losses in overtime or shootouts, 566 points percentage. In the playoffs, he has a record of 68 and 55. His team's in the playoffs, a 553 winning percentage. So pretty good numbers all around. Honestly, they're pretty good numbers. Pete DeBoer, this is his 5th team. And of course, there will be discussions about how long he's going to be there. Well, Dallas goes through its share of coaches. It's been through a lot, whether it was Lindy Ruff, Ken Hitchcock, Jim Montgomery, Rick Bowness, and now Pete DeBoer. So if you look at the numbers from this past season, I understand what Dallas is trying to do here. I think they're looking for more goals because it's been a conversation starter for me with Dallas. So how about not getting goals in Dallas? Why do those two things go together? So if you look at last year's numbers, on the special teams front, Vegas was below Dallas. 18.4% on the power play, Dallas 22.4%. Penalty kill, Vegas was below Dallas there as well. 77.4% was Vegas's penalty kill versus Dallas's that was 79%. So special teams could take a hit under DeBoer. Absolutely agree. Although Dallas, it's a different makeup than it is in Vegas. Vegas has had troubles with their power play on and off really since the beginning because they were an expansion team 4 years ago. But goal scoring, Vegas had that over Dallas. 262 goals for Vegas this past season. Dallas had 233. Both teams allowed 244 goals. Dallas is this oddity that they allowed more goals than they scored. They still made the playoffs. But against Calgary, we saw it again. This was a team that just simply could not score. They couldn't get that goal when they desperately needed it. And if you shut down the Pavelski line, good luck. You now have shut down Dallas, and good luck in your future endeavors. You can move on and play somebody else. Dallas has done. Save percentage favors Dallas overall, a 904 save percentage versus 901 for Vegas. Now, there's been discussions about whether or not adding Peter DeBoer is going to cause problems with Jake Ottinger, based on how things went in Vegas this past season. Honestly, I can't remember Pete DeBoer having a problem with goaltenders in San Jose, New Jersey, or Florida. And obviously, he had some pretty good goaltenders in those 3 stops. Yes, there were problems in Vegas, but the amount of dysfunction in the Vegas Golden Knights locker room could very well be very high. We don't know for sure, right? We could only know through rumor, innuendo, and what we can see on the ice. But there were a lot of things going on with Vegas. I was mildly surprised that Vegas moved on from Pete DeBoer. Now they have Bruce Cassidy, treat him well, Vegas, and Dallas has Pete DeBoer. Now, the unrestricted free agents that are leaving Dallas, Radulov, Nemesnikov, I would hope they find a way to keep Nemesnikov around. Raffl, Klingberg's probably played his last game as a Dallas Star. They're rumored to be in the market for another defenseman. Sekera, Wedgwood, Holtby. So they're also going to be in the market for a backup goaltender unless they find a replacement for Wedgwood and Holtby. Restricted free agents, famously, you've got Robertson and Ottinger, and I say famously because everywhere there's discussions about what would it take to get them out of Dallas. Ottinger had a very good round against Calgary. I do think that people are overrating Ottinger a little bit, and I say that as an Ottinger fan. I've got an Ottinger jersey, but I do think there are people overrating him a bit at this point. I do think Ottinger becomes a top 10 goaltender in the NHL. I don't think he's there yet, but I think what we saw in the playoffs was a promising start of that. And then there's Stu Nietzsche, who came in at the deadline. Whether or not they keep him, we'll see. But at this stage, he's a restricted free agent. So why would you hire Pete DeBoer? There's a problem in Dallas. The problem is you've got guys who make a lot of money that aren't getting a lot of points. And so on this side of the board, I've got the guys in blue because they're not getting the amount of points you would want if you're Dallas. Starting with Tyler Seguin, 81 games this past season, 24 goals, 25 assists, 49 points. Now, he missed every game except 3 last year. He only played the 3 games last season, and so it's nice to see him back and see him healthy and playing almost every single game. But Seguin looks like a shadow of his former self, and he makes a lot of money, and it's a long contract. And so Dallas needs to get Seguin going. So with Rick Bowness stepping aside, Pete DeBoer, I'm guessing, is the one they feel can get the offense going, looking at what he was able to do in Vegas. Now, Vegas has some star players. So does Dallas. There's really no reason for Dallas' scoring to be as bad as it's been, seemingly for years. And then you look at it, and yeah, it's been years. Jamie Benn, 82 games, 18 goals, 28 assists, 46 points. Ben's had underwhelming seasons recently. The last, I'll say, 3 years. You want a little more from him offensively than you've got. And while it's not Bonus's fault that he wasn't scoring, it's possible that with the right voice behind the bench, maybe you need to shake up the lines, that we get things going. It was funny because people were tracking when Seguin, Benn, and Radulov were together because that was seen as like the super line for Dallas, even though it hadn't really been the super line for them for years. Gurianov, his goal scoring, they want that to bounce back as well. 73 games, 11 goals, 20 assists, 31 points. So for Gurianov, they want 20 goals out of him. He should be a 20-goal scorer. It just hasn't been there, right? And then there's Kivi Ranta. And I think Kivi Ranta might be the most dramatic example. Now, they don't expect a lot from Kivi Ranta. I don't think they're expecting a 20, 30-goal scorer, but 1 goal in 56 games to go with 6 assists, just alarming. So the reality is these are 4 guys that have got on the board that I think they're going to want more from. I think they want more offense out of Heiskanen. I think Heiskanen's numbers will come up if their numbers come up. I think Heiskanen played very well this season and is a good example of you can't measure all defensemen by points. Now, on the red side of the board here, you've got Pavelski, 82 games, 27 goals, 54 assists, 81 points. Great season for him. Robertson, 74 games, 41 goals, 38 assists, 79 points. And Rope Hintz, 80 games, 37 goals, 35 assists, 72 points. That line was nothing short of remarkable. And so they want to get those kinds of numbers out of guys like Seguin, Benn, Gurianov. So if you're going to put Gurianov with Seguin and Benn, you're going to keep Pavelski with Robertson and Hintz. If that's going to be your top 6, you need more scoring out of that second line. So we'll see how things go because that, I think, is part of the problem. So we'll look at this over the last 5 years. The Stars this year were 21st in goals for. They were 13th in goals against. The previous year, they were 18th in goals for and 9th in goals against. 2019-2020, a season where Jim Montgomery sadly had to step aside as coach of the Dallas Stars. And I would be perfectly fine with Jim Montgomery coming back as a story of redemption. And I thought, maybe if he was willing to come back to Dallas, maybe that might be an option. But Rick Bowness took over, and the team was 28th in goals for that year. They couldn't score, but in the playoffs, they got all the way to the final. They were second in goals against that year. They were also second in goals against in 2018-2019, while Montgomery was behind the bench. They were 29th in goals for. The previous year under Ken Hitchcock, they were 18th in goals for and 7th in goals against. So Dallas has proven that they can keep the puck out of their net. They have not proven they can put the puck in the other net. And it's really simple. Basically, to me, it's simple that I think they feel that DeBoer can give them that offensive kick that they've needed. And they probably look at the early success he had both in New Jersey and San Jose. They look at the fact that in 2020 they made it to the Stanley Cup final. And whether you look at that run as a fluke or whether you look at that run as a sign that this team could be better, however you look at it, they're likely looking at it as a sign this team can be better and that this team can win with the lineup they have. It's just a matter of getting the right voice. And so they've decided that that's Pete DeBoer. And so we can discuss this now, and I know plenty are going to discuss it. And personally, I have my doubts, but I kind of understand what they're doing here. And if he can get it so that Dallas, at least, I don't know, they're 17th in goals for, 16th, that'd be the best they've been in ages. So they really need to figure this out. This is a Dallas team that, obviously, with the amount of money they're spending on Sagan and Ben, they want to get them going. And I guess they feel that Pete DeBoer is their best opportunity to get them going. And we can have the discussion of Bruce Cassidy. However, Cassidy wanted to go to Vegas, goes to Vegas, and there's that. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. So if they shouldn't have hired Pete DeBoer, let me know in the comment section below who you think they should have hired. And remember, not every coach wants to go to every city, so it's possible maybe DeBoer wasn't their first choice and this was the backup. But either way, he's going to be announced as coach likely today or tomorrow, from the sounds of it anyways, from the sounds of what Pierre LeBrun's reporting. And he's going to get paid well. And again, his record overall would tell you, with a .566 points percentage, he probably deserves the job. There is a discussion to be had about recycling of coaches. It's definitely a thing. But again, you look at Pete DeBoer, you look at his amount of time in New Jersey and San Jose especially, and he stuck around for a while in both locations. We'll see how it goes. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, whether or not you feel that the Stars can have a good first season under DeBoer, if that's what this is about, or do you think it can last? Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.